Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh from Great Millstone, Orlando. And, this truth, this thing of ours, as the scriptures say, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth. It's a scary thing. I saw a video, and I was going to do a separate video on it, but it's just like, man, the Lord really has these people in a strong delusion. In this video, it was just going into some, because, like the Christian church, you got the pastor and you got the first lady. In this particular video, it was dealing with a pastor and going into the first man, which of course going into the Moism. They were, they were both Moes, and of course they justify their delusion. But nevertheless, again, Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, just the fact that he has these people in a strong delusion, it's a scary thing. And that's why, man, again, when it comes to this thing of ours, it's precious, because we could be elsewhere, and that is the scary part. We could be elsewhere. Because here it is. I mean, the individual that you were before this truth. Sometimes I think, I don't want to think about the man that I would be if I didn't have this truth, because it's a scary thing. As the scriptures talk about King Solomon, how his mind was almost given to in not so many words, roughly paraphrasing, he was almost given over to the dark side. Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, he allows us to see enough to where, he gets to a point where he has to tap us on the head and reactivate us with the water Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai. Because again, the man that I would have been without this truth in the world, man, it's a scary thing. And between you and Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, that man or that woman that you could have potentially been without this truth. So with all that being said, because where we could be, man, that's why we got to appreciate this truth. You got to appreciate this truth. The Wadi Ba'ashem Shai for calling us out of the darkness of this world, the obscurity of this world, and into this glorious light. So just something that I was thinking about, as I have here in Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. I'm going to start at 7. Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out of to thy house? When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine help shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of Yahweh shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and Yahweh shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity and thy darkness be as a noonday. And as we see, pursuant to the scriptures, of course, 2/3 of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, they're groping in the noonday. But again, Yahweh Bashim Shai is he's called us out of that obscurity. All right, because these few verses, man. And this is why I would say, man, it's just a matter of serving Yahweh Bashim Shai, putting your best foot forward in sincerity and in truth. All right, and with that being said, verse 11, and Yahweh shall guide thee continually and satisfy thy soul in drought and make fat thy bones, and thou shalt be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. So, again, with that being said, because where we could be, that's the scary part. And this is something that I think about every day, which is a part of the influence of me doing this video. And this is not to sound like a tough guy, because I'm not tough. But for the most part, a lot of Jake grew up being scared of the dark. And for the most part, I was never really afraid of the dark. Hell, if anything, I prefer the dark. But it's spiritual to me, because even with that being said, even if you're not afraid of the dark, there's just this eerie feeling. Even if you're not so-called afraid of the dark, man, that's one thing that I can't deny. I won't deny. I can't deny. Not being afraid of the dark. But on the same note, there was a certain eerie feeling when you're in the dark. And just knowing what I know now, the understanding that I have now, I've always took that as a threat. Ever since this truth, waking up to this truth, that darkness, I've always took as a threat, because Yahweh Bashim Shai, he can leave you in that darkness, that obscurity, that ignorance, that state of delusion, that state of not knowing. And again, it's a scary thing, knowing what we know. The individual that we were before the truth, there's no telling. Without this truth, there's no telling who or what we'd be doing right now. You've got Israelites, 2/3, they wake up, they plot wickedness. 2/3, they wake up with the mind fully setting them to do evil against Yahweh Bashim Shai. 2/3, here it is, a grown-ass man decides to wake up, dye his hair pink, color his fingernails. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing. And to think that could be one of us. So this truth, man, is precious. Having this truth, man, is precious. Because to know that we could still be in that state of obscurity, that state of darkness, it's a scary thing. We're dealing with a scary power. So cherish this truth, man. Because boy, one thing I've been saying ever since this whole These guys, Beavis and Butthead, teaching the Gentiles can be saved. Because there's always a new thing, and that's been my new thing. That's been my new thing. Ever since Beavis and Butthead, all right, Genesis, teaching the Gentiles can be saved. That's been my new thing. Because you have, and that's another scary thing, Israelites that know the truth, and they know the names of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, but they are full of shit. And essentially, when you read this chapter, man, you read this chapter, again, that's why it's about serving Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, sincerity and the truth, because going into the fasting, right, which draws us closer to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? Again, that's where I started at verse 7, because it's just about serving Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, sincerity and the truth. And that's what the Lord is looking for, the inward man. Where's your mind at? Because you had a lot of Israelites, they would fast for debate. They would fast to look good outwardly, but their inward man, they're full of shit, essentially. They're full of shit. You see, so it's about the sincerity. And again, a lot of Israelites know the truth. And again, it's been my thing. The Wadi Alba Shemel Shai. Again, man, Jake is catching pure fucking hell. Jake is uncomfortable as shit. Whatever the case may be, but man, at least not using or calling the Lord's name in vain. At least we're not teaching the Gentiles can be saved. And all of the above, as we're in those times where, as the Apostle Tahar has coined this year, agents, bug-outs, sellouts, and so on and so forth. We are definitely in those times, and hey, guys popping up, thinking that they're King David. It's a scary thing. Here it is, Jake is falling out. Jake is falling out, man. And it could be any one of us. That's the thing about it. It can be any one of us. Man. So appreciate this truth, man. And something Apostle Ricard, he's been stressing it lately. Damn nearly every lesson he's been going into for a while, how he just wakes up. Every day he wakes up and he's just wooed. He's wowed. It's just like, damn. And it hit me one day. It just hit me one day. Like, damn, man. Man, the fact that I'm still here, still got the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, still trying, against all odds. Still got the names of the Lord, man. It's just every day. It's an amazing thing. Like I said, Apostle Ricard, he's been saying that for a long time, and it just hit me one day like, man, I just woke up one day and it's like, damn, dog, I got the name of the Lord. I'm here. I'm here, man. The Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Because, man, every day is a day that we need Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai more than yesterday. We need the Lord, man, more than food, more than water. We need the Lord. And it's just hitting every day, man. It just hits more and more every day. Jake is bugging out, falling out. Like I said, man, hey, Jake is waking up and deciding to commit adultery. You got Jake out here, man, and grown men fully set in their mind. They're going to wake up tomorrow and cut their rod off. Jake's going to wake up in the morning fully set in their mind to paint their nails, man. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing, and that's the scary part. Hey, it could be any one of us. It could be any one of us, man. It's a scary thing. So appreciate this truth, man. I'll also go to this in Isaiah. Isaiah 9:2. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shine. So again, it can be any one of us, and that's one thing. Yahweh Shema Shai. May the Spirit continue to here it is, man. Hey, being in this land of the valley of the shadow of death, right? May the Spirit continue to lead me, guide me, protect me. Because, man, as we're seeing more and more that people are choosing to go the broad way rather than the straight way, the straight gate. And it hurts, man. Which it's a sign of we're on the right track. If it hurts, it's a sign we're on the right track. As we're getting closer and closer, as it's getting closer and closer to the narrow gate, it feels like the walls are enclosing, but here it is. People are choosing. We see it more and more. People are choosing the broad way, the easy way. So, man, it's just something that I was thinking about. Like I said, that darkness, man, knowing what I know now, having the understanding that I have now, how I took it, how I take it. Because even now, again, a grown man, right? But you walking down the street, you might just go outside at night to take out your trash, even though you got street lights or whatever. But there's just something eerie about that darkness. There's just something eerie about that darkness, man. You might not necessarily be afraid of the dark, but there's just something eerie about that darkness. And that's just how I take it in the spirit. I've always taken it. Yahweh Shema Shai. It's a threat, man. That darkness, it's a threat. Because the Lord can leave you out there. He can leave any one of us out there in that obscurity. So it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing, man. So appreciate this truth, because hell, it can be any one of us. The Lord can leave us out there, man. Lord willing, we're Lord willing. We're so far in the game. Here it is, Jake out here, man. They think that the Lord didn't even come the first time. They're waiting on the first resurrection of Yahweh Shai. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing. The Lord willing, just a few things I was thinking about while I'm here on the gig. Because speaking of, back on these night shifts, and it's just like, damn. Night shifts. The grave shift, man. But just a few things I was thinking about, Lord willing. This was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully, like.